Imagine a city where speed is survival and every second counts. Meet Belle, a bike messenger turned cab driver who knows the streets of New York better than anyone. But what if her life behind the wheel suddenly collides with a dangerous game of cat and mouse?
Wait, man!
You shot my taxi!
You calm down now, man.
A team of stunning, ruthless criminals.
Come in water, Vanessa. Don't you scratch them, you idiot.
A bumbling detective with everything to prove. And one woman caught in the middle of it all. Will her skill be enough to outdrive fate? Stay with us, because this ride is about to take a turn you'll never see coming. The film begins with a bicycle messenger racing through the bustling streets of New York City. Finally, the messenger arrives at headquarters, where everyone cheers. The helmet comes off, and we meet Belle, probably the best driver you'd ever see. She just broke a speed record, and we soon learn it's her last day in the bicycle messaging business, as she just qualified for her taxi license. Everybody loves her, and she is everyone's friend. As a going-away present, the gang gives her a titanium supercharger for the cab she's been working on. She's excited and happy about her time with these friends. Belle's boyfriend, Jesse, arrives and tells her he took the rest of the day off so they can have a dinner date. Jesse is the romantic type, but Belle tells him she needs to pick up her license at the taxi commission first and will be there for their date afterward. However, when Belle arrives to pick up her license, she's held up by a long line of people ahead of her. This delay causes her to be an hour late. When she gets home, Jesse has already gone to bed. She sees the dinner setup be prepared and feels bad for being late. Nevertheless, she heads downstairs to her garage and installs the supercharger into her custom-built cab. She's been working on this cab for 5 years, and it has more gadgets than any regular car you've ever seen. She dreams of someday driving for NASCAR, and her work on this cab proves she knows her way around engines. The next day, she has her first customer, $100 if she can make it to the JFK in 15 minutes. She says that won't be a problem. She races through the streets like she's on her messenger bike and arrives in 9 minutes, though her passenger is left feeling sick. Next, we meet Detective Washburn, the most incompetent undercover detective ever. In his current case, he's about to bust a Cuban phone card ring. Posing as a Cuban trying to buy the cards, he does his best Tony Montana, Scarface impression. His partner, expecting another screw-up, watches as Washburn botches the buy. A gunfight breaks out, and his partner is wounded while the Cubans escape. The two run to their car, but since the partner's arm is injured, Washburn has to drive. Unfortunately, Washburn is the worst driver in the world, and it shows in his fumbling behind the wheel. He puts the car in reverse and crashes into a local market. Back at the station, his mocking co-workers give him a Driving for Dummies handbook. While outside, he hears over the radio that a bank is being robbed nearby. He jumps into the street, flashes his badge, and tries to stop the first car he gets to the scene. The driver, panicked, crashes, causing a pileup. Frustrated, Washburn sneaks away and jumps into a cab, which turns out to be Belle's. She's on the phone with Jesse, who reminds her to show up on time for their makeup dinner. But things go astray when Washburn gets in. He tells her to drive to the bank, and though confused, she complies. They arrive just as 4 robbers jump into a BMW and speed off. Belle and Washburn give chase, and in his clumsiness, Washburn accidentally shoots out one of Belle's windows. Furious, Belle promises to make him pay, but for now, they corner the BMW in an alley. The BMW driver, an even better driver than Belle, makes some quick moves and escapes. Belle manages to get a good look at the robbers. They are all female, and they look like supermodels. The head robber, Vanessa, blows a kiss to Belle before speeding off. Belle scoffs, but lets them pass. The robbers escape, and Belle and Washburn are summoned back to the station. There, Washburn faces his boss and ex-girlfriend, Marta, who scolds him for taking a cab to a bank robbery. She's at a loss for what to do with him, but she has to attend a meeting with her superiors, as the FBI has just arrived. Agent Mullins shows footage from the bank robbery and stresses the robbers' skill and the need to apprehend them soon. Meanwhile, Belle is questioned, as she is the only one who can ID the suspects. Her cab is held for evidence, possibly for weeks, much to her frustration. The detectives remind her that not only was she involved in police matters, but she also has frequent tickets for bad driving. Lieutenant Mullins and Marta decide to take Washburn off the case permanently. Disappointed, Belle leaves the station and gets a call from Jessie, who is once again waiting for her at the restaurant. She tries to explain, telling him a random cop took her to a bank robbery. But Jessie hangs up, fed up with her excuses. Just then, Washburn approaches Belle with a plan to retrieve her cab from the station. He's determined to crack the case so Belle can get her cab back and, in turn, fix his standing with Marta. As they reflect on the events, Belle recalls an important detail. When she and Vanessa faced off, Washburn had shot Vanessa's tires multiple times. She kept driving because the BMW had run flat tires, armored tires that seal themselves with gel when punctured, but can only last for about 50 miles. Belle realizes that Vanessa will need new tires, which she'll only be able to get at Lou's garage in Secaucus, the only garage within 50 miles. This revelation gives Washburn hope, and he offers to drive them to the garage. However, once they get to his car, it's clear Washburn is useless behind the wheel.
Stop!
Belle orders him out of the car and takes over. They head to Lou's garage, but they have to wait until nighttime to sneak in. As they wait in the car, one of Vanessa's accomplices catches up to them. She knocks them out, and when they come to, they're confronted by the robbers. Vanessa wants to finish them off, but Belle tries to talk her way out of it, claiming she has nothing to do with Washburn. Belle insists Washburn is thinking of a way to escape, suggesting he has a gun. Washburn, confused, takes off his shirt to prove he doesn't. While doing this, he gets closer to one of the robbers, and at the right moment, wraps her hand, taking the gun from her. He shoots at the criminals, and he and Belle retreat to the nearest room they can find for cover. Inside, there are a bunch of gas tanks, and Washburn got an idea. This clumsy cop now opens the gas tanks, thinking he could blow up the whole place and call for assistance. But what he didn't know is that the gas is nitrous, and they are also in the same room with it. Quickly, Belle starts to laugh randomly. She knows she hates this guy more than before, but she can't stop laughing due to the laughing gas. Soon, the criminals drove off, and Belle and Washburn ended up high on nitrous gas.
Or that.
Next, after the effects wear off, Belle takes Washburn to her apartment so he can explain to Jessie that what happened to her was his fault. But Jessie is furious and takes Washburn's police badge, burning it with his blowtorch.
Man. Was one in a money clip.
Despite all that, he couldn't let Belle in for her messed up excuse, so she had to follow Washburn to his apartment. There, she is surprised to find him living with his mom. In fact, their apartments are side by side, and his mother is often drunk. However, she is still a lovely lady and welcomes Belle in. She admits that her son had a traumatizing first driving experience at a very early age, and he still couldn't understand how a car operates. The same goes for his swimming skills. He still doesn't know how to swim. Later, he offers Belle a place to crash, and he takes her to his apartment, which is right next to his mom's. The next morning, Washburn wakes up with the realization that the robbers may have planned to rob another bank nearby, since he overheard them saying, 2 more withdrawals. The duo soon head to the station, but Marta refuses to hear Washburn. She's had enough of his idiocy and doesn't want to involve him in the case. Disappointed, he breaks it to Belle that he can't do anything now, but she insists she can catch Vanessa if she just had her cab. Immediately, Washburn takes her for a walk to the station's parking lot. Washburn then talks to the impound cop and eventually convinces him to give him and Belle the cab back. This time, he lies and says that Belle is from the SWAT team, and he actually gets away with it. The cop hands them the keys, and Belle drives off, happy that she got her cab back. On the road, Washburn hears another robbery report on his radio and suggests to Belle that they should drive there. But Belle knows better and tries to think like the robber. She thinks Vanessa will take another route to the garage, so she waits for her on a nearby street, knowing she will appear any minute. She follows her, and Vanessa quickly notices the cab behind her. Increasing speed with her titanium power, Belle levels with Vanessa and blows a kiss to her, just like she did earlier. Now, with the two skilled drivers in a chase, Vanessa suddenly speeds up and makes a U-turn, causing Belle to crash into a water filter on the street. This gives Vanessa the chance to disappear, and Belle sighs, frustrated for losing her once again. Elsewhere, the robbers stop to completely change their appearance, as well as their car's tint. It's now a blue BMW with hotties driving to the beach. There's no money in the car, and the police aren't able to identify them. Back with Belle and Washburn, they end up despised by Lieutenant Marta, and Washburn even gets his badge taken away permanently. After they leave, they head to Washburn's apartment and finds Jesse there. Turns out, he came to find out the truth from Washburn's mom, and he now apologizes to Belle for not understanding her earlier. While sitting there at the woman's house, Belle and Washburn come to realize that every robbery takes place just as the bank is about to have its garbage collected in front of the building. The robbers take the money, put it in the trash, and the garbage man collects it. They shortly track down the garbage driver, only to discover that his wife has been kidnapped and he is being forced to collect the money, or his wife will be killed. They nab the kidnapper, free the wife, and collect all of the money that has been stolen so far. They figured out the next bank to be hit, and Washburn calls Lieutenant Marta to get backup. The robbery goes as planned, but they are met by dozens of cops in front of the bank. The robbers quickly take a hostage and demand to be allowed to leave. Marta asks them to take her instead of the hostage they currently have. They agree, but first, Vanessa does a long and erotic frisk of Marta, much to the delight of her fellow officers, as well as her lover, Washburn. The hot robbers get away with Marta as a hostage, but they are now being chased once again by Washburn and Belle in her cab. All the other squad cars lose them, but Belle utilizes the help of her former bike messengers to pinpoint the car's location. It's now just Belle, Washburn, and the robbers flying down the streets of New York. During the chase, they continually try to swap the hostage for the money while driving down the road at 100 miles per hour. The plan is to take Marta into their car and give the money back in the other. However, Washburn has a more effective plan. He keeps stalling, handing the money to the robbers. In the meantime, he tells Belle to convince Vanessa to take a different route because there's less traffic there. But in reality, Washburn is forcing the robbers down a long bridge that he knows is under construction. That way, he can trap them. Just as they reach a break in the bridge, Belle slams on the brakes, stopping just at the end of the section. But as for the robbers, they end up flying past them, jumping to the next section of the bridge. However, the section after that is missing too, so they are now trapped on the middle section with no way out. A frustrated Vanessa screams and shoots from a distance, managing to shoot Belle, wounding her in the chest. Marta and Washburn feel uneasy, but Washburn manages to save her life by finally driving well and getting her to the hospital. Sometime later, it's NASCAR Sunday, and Belle is behind the wheel of her new car, sponsored by the banks of New York. Spoon, Washburn, and Marta, along with his mom, appear to pay her a visit. They are also on an undercover mission to catch some Russian mafia. Washburn now looks happy and has gotten his life together, and Belle cautions him to look after himself. The movie comes to a close as Belle sees a message from Jesse on the scoreboard, asking her to marry him. The story concludes with her happily agreeing, and we hopefully see the two meet at the winner's circle. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.